Hello everyone, I'm the Noobist, you're watching the Noobist Colony, and today I've got a guide for you on the hybrid spec between balance and telekinetics that I've been running for a little while on my Jedi Sage. Before I get into everything, do know that the guide itself can be mirrored for sorcerers on the Imperial side. You'll just have to kind of translate the talent points and the abilities over, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. You'll probably figure it out as we go. Anyway, let's get into, I guess, the spec first. Let's take a look at that and some of the core talent points that you'll be picking up along the way and what they'll do. So let's start in the first tier of points here in the balance tree. I picked up Empowered Throw, 3 of 3. That increases the damage dealt by telekinetic throw by 12%. Will of the Jedi increases your overall willpower. It's great. This one's particularly good for PvP. Reduces the cooldown of Force Stun by 10 seconds. In addition, your Force Lift affects up to 2 additional standard or weak enemies within 8 meters of the target. Pretty awesome change to your Force Lift there. So anyway, let's try and take a look at, where's the other one? Critical Kinesis increases the critical chance of telekinetic throw and disturbance by 10%. So that goes really hand in hand with Empowered Throw there, because your telekinetic throw is going to be buffed both crit damage and your overall damage now. You also pick up in Tier 2 Upheaval, which, when you activate Project, has a chance to project an additional chunk of debris at the target, dealing 50% of normal damage. Also awesome, especially when you're trying to finish somebody off. I'm going to start over here and talk a little bit more about the core ability in just a second. So this telekinetic balance and presence of mind, jumping up one tier, go hand in hand with empowered or telekinetic throw. You're basically going to have no cooldown on telekinetic throw, making you a beast because you can spam that stuff. You're going to be critting all the time. It's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, and really you spam that for one purpose: to cause damage and proc this presence of mind. When your telekinetic throw deals damage, you have a 30% chance to cause your next force damaging attack with an activation time to activate, holy crap, tongue-tied, instantly, and deal 20% more damage. So basically, as you're spamming your telekinetic throw, you'll see that you'll get a buff over here called Presence of Mind, and that's when you'll want to start throwing up your Mind Crush or, your Telekinetic Wave. Basically it's an instant cast. So moving back down, let's take a look at Psychic Barrier. It reduces the pushback suffered by while activating Mind Crush and Telekinetic Wave by 75%. In addition, each time your telekinetic throw deals damage, you have a 100% chance to recover 1% of your total force. This is awesome because as you're spamming telekinetic throw, you're going to be getting some of your force back. Really, it doesn't matter. The pushback because of Mind Crush and telekinetic throw doesn't matter too much because you're not going to be hardcasting those much at all with this build because of Presence of Mind. So let's take a look at Force and Balance. This is an AoE effect that damages up to 3 targets within an 8-meter area, and it heals you for 1% of your health for each target that is hit. Now, the biggie here is this: Force Suppression. This talent point basically gives the target a debuff that increases the amount of damage that the targets suffer from the next 10 periodic damaging abilities by 20%. Lasts 30 seconds. So anytime you're using Force in Balance on a target, they're going to be taking a lot more damage from your dots. Containment over here lowers the activation time of Force Lift by 100%. In addition, when your Force Lift breaks early from damage, the target is stunned for 2 seconds. That is what makes CC on a Sage really awesome. I have no other way to describe it. Drain Thoughts up here increases the damage by Weakened Mind by 15%. Then you've got Assertion, increases the duration of Mind Crush by 2 seconds, giving a few more ticks of damage. The only other points that I put into the balance tree here are in Mental Scarring. It increases the critical damage bonus of Force and Balance and your periodic damage abilities by 30%. So anytime you crit, you're getting a lot more damage out of it, which is great because really Force and Balance crits almost, I'd say 90% of the time I get a crit out of it, and your dots are critting all the time. So, now moving over to the Telekinetics Tree, let's take a look at the Tier 1 talents that I picked up. So I put 2 points into Mental Longevity, increases the total force by 100, that's always great to have more force. You've got Clamoring Force, which increases the damage dealt by Disturbance, Mind Crush, Telekinetic Wave, and Turbulence by 6%. Basically, this right here is buffing everything in the balance tree. Well, and here, but 1 point into Inner Strength, which reduces the force cost of force attacks and healing abilities by 3%. I find because of the force regeneration that I'm getting from Psychic Barrier, I don't really find myself force starved, so I only put 1 point there. You've got 2 in Disturbed Mind, which increases the duration of Weakened Mind by 6 seconds. Then you've got 2 in Telekinetic Defense, increases the amount absorbed by your Force Armor by 20%. 1 into Telekinetic Wave, which basically this is a huge damaging ability. It's got a longer cast time or activation time of 2.6 seconds, which is why you're going to rely on your Presence of Mind mostly to activate the or to get instant procs for Telekinetic Wave. Basically, it sends a wave of energy that deals damage to an AoE. It's an AoE effect. It's pretty awesome animation that they came up with there. And then the other one is buffing again. Weakened Mind critical hits have a 100% chance to grant psychic projection, causing your next telekinetic throw to channel and tick twice as fast. This effect cannot occur more than once every 10 seconds. Basically, you're a spamming beast with telekinetic throw. Alright, before we hop into what your ideal opener would be on a Sage or Sorcerer, let's take a look at what kind of itemization you're going to want to go for here. You can see that your primary stat is going to be Willpower. Obviously, after that, you're going to want to go for things like Crit and stack Crit after that. I have been running a full Force Master. You can see I just started getting my Champion gear. I have Centurion gear, which is fine by me. I'm doing enough damage as it is, so you basically want to go with a Force Master set. I do see people running around with 3-piece of Force Master and 2 of the Force Mystic for the double set bonus. Basically you get 2 of your 2-piece set bonuses, which is pretty nice. The other set, let's take a look at that real quick. I think I have one in my inventory. Yeah, basically the other 2-piece set bonus reduces the lockout debuff duration of static barrier or force armor by 3 seconds. You're able to, shield yourself a little bit more with that. Other than that, you're looking at the 4-piece bonus being increased range of shock or jolt or project or mind snap by 5 meters. Not that big of a buff from the 4-piece bonus. I might find myself swapping out and seeing how I like to run with 2 pieces of the Mystic gear myself. So that's pretty much it for gear. You're going to want to just basically keep your willpower, your crit, obviously max expertise because you're really squishy on a, well, relatively squishy on a Sage. Presence gets up there a little bit, and that, I don't know, well, Presence doesn't really do too terribly much, but take a look at your force damage and things like that. Critical chance, I'm up at 22%, which is, decent enough for my liking right now, and that's about it. So we'll take a look now at some examples of how to open your ideal rotation and things like that on the Jedi Sage and Imperial Sorcerer. Alright, that's it. Let's go. Alright, so here we are. We have a list of abilities and how you should prioritize them in order to get the most bang for your buck out of this build. Basically, you're going to want to maximize the uptime of your Force and Balance debuff, and then it becomes all about managing your Presence of Mind procs. Are you going to be tossing Mind Crush on a target? Are you going to be, using Telekinetic Wave, Instant Proc, that sort of thing? And that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at a few examples of how you can achieve an ideal opener on a target and how you can kind of plan on adapting to certain situations in PvP. So in this clip you can actually see where I got the ideal opener on the Sorcerer there. For some reason I did not use the relic that I had. It was able to be activated. I just wasn't thinking at the time, I think because I was CC'd. I did pretty much get the rotation down. I did throw Force on Imbalance in first because I knew there were other teammates going after the same kill, but it gives you an idea of how you can kind of line things up. Now I did use Force Speed to get closer to the Sorcerer at one point, but that's pretty much it. Alright, so in this clip it's a little harder to see because of the way that the camera's working, since it's kind of glitched out while I'm standing in the corner, but you get a really pretty decent overhead view of how to get damage out on multiple targets without being interrupted. So my primary focus here was Brogar. Once Brogar was down, I was able to actually just tap target to Windshade and utilize my Presence of Mind proc. That's how versatile the Jedi Sage hybrid build is with the Presence of Mind. You can actually just tab target and continue your prioritization. If Mind Crush is on cooldown, then of course you're going to want to use Telekinetic Wave and vice versa. So that's pretty much it for this clip. Alright, so starting out, you'll probably notice that damage is a little slow starting on Fada or Fada here. That's because this build is actually really dependent upon procs, entirely dependent upon procs pretty much. But that's not actually always a bad thing. So anyway, once you have those procs, damage is not a problem with this build. You'll notice I do not get an ideal opener here on Massage. That's because basically you're not always going to end up getting your way. You're going to have to adapt, and I used Force Stun in order to avoid taking damage and was able to still keep damage rolling on Massage. The nice thing is that I'm able to use the proc here on this group of imps that's standing between the pillars. I was able to cast my Telekinetic Wave and keep damage rolling. Anyway, I'm the Noobist. This is the Noobist Colony. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down below.